you started early. You started the Fifth Estate at 17, when
Yeah,
there were only four other underground
right.
newspapers in the country.
Yeah,
And then you went to WABX at 21 as a news director. When
yes.
you started on television, you knew nothing about how to put a piece of video together, I hear.
I mean, it was
And
embarrassing.
what did your lack of experience bring to those positions?
A painful learning curve. When you don't know what you don't know, it can be very ouchy. For example, in the Fifth Estate, the first issue, which I loved, I adored, I was so proud of it at age 17, a graduate of Mumford High School, little Mustangs out there. Um, I I laid out my newspaper, my tabloid. The printer sent it back to us with 3,000 copies, and there were two blank pages. I didn't get it, but I didn't know that when you publish or lay out a tabloid paper, you have 8 pages. The run can go 8 pages at a time, not 6. And I laid out 6 pages. So the printer, rather than giving me a heads up, thought he'd teach this youngin', and he printed my first issue of the paper with 2 blank pages. It was a flawed masterpiece.
A lot of the work you were known for in your television days was documentary production, which is a little
Absolutely.
different than daily news. So
Yeah,
TV stations didn't do a lot of docs then, and they do almost none now.
you're
How
right.
did you create those unique opportunities?
They weren't doing a lot of docs, but the executive producers and the production executives decided, this is Detroit. Hello. For a storyteller, living and working in Detroit's like being a kid in a candy store. So God bless those folks at Channel 4 and Channel 56 and WTVS for giving me and other Detroit storytellers a chance to get it off our chest.
What do you think we're missing without that now? What do
Oh,
you think
so
we're
much.
not?
There's so many opportunities to see stories, and even Detroit-centric stories, because I've always believed that if the work is, here's the irony, I used to teach this to my students, the more specific our stories are, don't ask me how, but the more universal they are. When regardless of where we live or who we are or what our background is, when our good stuff below the surface speaks to your good stuff, we're in business.
You have a great affection for cinema verite and documentaries with no narration.
Yeah.
Why do you think that's a more effective style of filmmaking?
I'm
And how does that
yeah.
lack of narration impact the point of view of your stories?
So my documentaries were narrated, but they were self-narrated. The people in the stories told their own stories without others interpreting and representing the voice of God to tell the viewers what they need to know. To tell, in the old days, the lexicon was, tell your viewers. We learned this, and if I went to local television school, I would have been taught this, but I never did, because there was no such thing. Tell them what you're going to tell your viewers, then tell them, and then tell them what you told them. As you say, I'm a documentary producer, among other things. And my comfort zone, what I'm used to doing is asking people very tough, probing questions that scratch their surface, get below their facade, and find out what they're really thinking and what's really important to them, even though they may not feel like telling me on camera. So, but I was good at it. For some reason, I seem to have a knack. So I did that forever, and it was great. And I got the awards and the honors, and it was wonderful. But I also felt it was a cheat. I felt that after so many years of telling other people's stories, spinning other people's yarns, essentially with their threads and not mine, I thought there was a voice missing after all these years in my storytelling, and that voice was moi. It took me 4 years to write Scratching the Surface, 2 years to write a bad book, and 2 more years to write a good one. I'm not saying the good stuff is always feeling good, or it's happy, or it's gay, or sometimes it's sad and painful and difficult and sorrowful, but it's real. That's how you know you're alive. The surface is a nice place to visit. I'm happy to, I just don't want to live, I can't live there.